George Spencer Quay has joined us this morning, and George is also a communication person for government. And thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you, and good morning.
We're talking about the budget. Unfortunately, we're in late.
Exactly.
And so we had done extensively about 40 to 50 minutes of the discussions on the budget. But since you're in, would want to do additionally, because of you, about 15 to 20 minutes, so that we also give you a certain balance and a space for you to also address some of the challenges.
It's not to say you have the entire 20 minutes. That's not what it means.
I don't think you are the one moderating this.
Oh no, I'm only telling you.
Okay. Hello, sir. Please, can you let me know? So, straight away, let's get to the issues.
Yes.
And we're talking about the debt management and the debt stock, and currently it's in excess of 69 billion. We're told, and that's about 60.8 of GDP. As far as the ratio is, that's huge. 60.8 for a country of our magnitude.
First of all, let me say a very good morning to viewers, and apologize for coming in late. Roland, I think that we need to look at the debt portfolio
in perspective,
in context. Otherwise, if you just take the figure, 60 billion, in excess of 60 billion, 60.8%, you won't achieve much. For a developing country, you need to contract loans to develop. If you say you are going to wait to accumulate enough revenue to develop, then perhaps we'll even be slower than the tortoise. But you know that hasn't happened anywhere. Even the biggest economies in this world are still borrowing to develop. They are still developing. Even the so-called countries, the countries we refer to them as developed, they are still borrowing to develop. How much more a country that is developing? You understand? Now, if you look at what constitutes the debt, what the money has been used for, huge part of it has gone into the productive sector. Have gone into sectors that will be able to repay for it. For instance, if you take the Akosomo Dam, that was built many years ago in the 60s. We took loan to build the Akosomo Dam, didn't we? The Akosomo Dam was able to pay for itself because it generated power, sold the power back to Ghanaians, and it has paid for itself. So if today government has taken loan to build the gas plant, the turbo gas plant, that gas plant should be able to pay for itself. Is that not the case? If today government is taking loan to construct a modern interchange at very close to this place at Circle, that is a productive venture. That project should be able to pay for itself. If today government is taking loans to construct roads, these are productive areas. I don't see why, instead of looking into the content of what those loans have been used for, we rather tend to look at the sum and say, hey, it's too much.
And just criticize. You think it's just criticism for criticizing?
No, it is not just criticism. It is a lazy man's approach. It is extremely lazy for anybody to just say, oh, our debt stock has ballooned, and where is it? What is government using? No, let me tell you. If you look at the projects, the ongoing project, are you telling me that the University of Ghana, the teaching school, is not important?
You mean the teaching hospital?
The teaching hospital.
Upgrading the Legon hospital into
a teaching, not just upgrading. A new structure is being. I use that.
Yeah, we know that.
And if you go there, work is ongoing. Are you saying it is not important? The reason why we as a country, we are not developing in regards to our science is the fact that you need to have the teaching hospital within the school establishment so that they will be able to conduct effective research. Look at where the students have to move from. Legon to and fro every day at whose cost? At the cost of the government. Now we are building a new 600-bed hospital. Can't that teaching hospital pay for itself? We are talking of transforming the Tamale Airport into an international airport. We are making the Kumasi Airport.
When is that project going to start?
It just started. When you say, you need to look. I don't know if you have a background in project. I don't know if you have a background in project management. If you go there, people who say if you go there, go and see whether they are not clear inside. Is that not part of project management? It is interesting when people so when they say we are building, exactly. A couple of months back, they said, "Oh, second interchange was a flop." They didn't know what government was using the money for. When the structure came off the ground, now they are saying it has been overbloated. You see, the inconsistency in analyzing what government is doing, the inconsistency on the part of the NPP is extremely dangerous. Not just
George. How do you think the government and you as communicators of government need to convince your critics and also the public that having a debt stock of 69 billion, in which, well, we're told that when the NDC administration came into office, you've borrowed in excess of some 27 billion, that all these projects will be adequately enumerated or perhaps will be outlined to convince people that really this is what we've used what and what for.
Yes, I agree. I agree largely to what
instead of
saying.
just giving examples.
We need to enumerate them. But at the end of the day, where these projects, and that is why when you give us
because some of them
like
have gone into the education sector.
Exactly.
For example, recently we had 156
Thank
million
you very
that
much.
you borrowed.
Exactly. So when you give us opportunity like this, okay.
Well, we give you all the time.
And that is why we also take opportunities like this when it presented to tell Ghanaians what we are doing. If anybody lives around cantonment and you want to access Teshinungwa or Spintex, either you come back to 37, go into the Spintex road, or use the beach road. Today, we are doing both faces of the Gifa road, where one will link straight to Teshinungwa, the other one will link straight to Spintex. That road, as we are talking, is being constructed. If you use the Awoshi Pokrasi road,
they are with loans.
They are with loans because you cannot say we are going to wait.
We can't raise the money
to accrue money. Of course, one day, I mean, if you are once you are saving, we're able to accrue money. But then, for how long are we going to wait to accrue that money in order to develop? You look at the Spintex bypass that has been created. That has
a very fine road, I should say.
Beyond its finest, what it is adding to the economy. People don't have to go all the way to the Tetekwashi, which was badly planned by the Eswal Kufuor government, badly executed, because it should have been at least a minimum of three intelligence, considering that some is coming from Medina, the other is coming from Spintex, and the third one is coming from the motorway. It should have been a 3 over. But what they built rather resulted in the massive traffic around that area. Today, due to the vision of the NDC government, there's a bypass that has been created near the polo. It is completed. People are using it. I use it on a daily basis. Again, if you look at the dualization of the 37 Gifa road, the 37 to Bemaka.
You've mentioned that one.
No. I mentioned. You see, there are 3 projects.
You said Gifa. Why Gifa?
No. It's not. We have the Gifa 1 and 2 phase, and then we have the dualization of the 37 to Bemaka, and the Gifa 1, which will link people from the cantonment area, use that road to Teshinungwa. You don't have to go to Labadi again. And then we have the Gifa 2 phase, which will now link people to Spintex. So when you're in cantonments, you are going to Spintex, Roland, you don't have to come to 37, go all the way to Dakar and join. No, you just go straight. And that is the vision of a president. Now you are looking at a president that is looking at constructing 200 SHS in this school. An example of the projects that they are saying they want to see. It's the one recently which was attended. The commission was attended by their own MP Oslo Ndasuman, an ultra-modern state-of-the-art school. Schools with what? Fully equipped with state-of-the-art facilities, including computer and science labs. You understand? Now, today tell me that if you have a child.
No, very soon we'll go on education.
Very soon, tell me if you have a child.
200.
I say we are going to, of course, by 2016, and the minister.
No, we'll come fully on education. We're just citing.
Yes,
I'm
just citing. Now, if you come to water project, okay, I live in Adenta. The project at my on the land of my former school, Presec.
What project are you talking about?
I'm talking about water now.
So mention the project. Then we'll
the
go.
project, the Pond expansion, which is going to produce 40 million gallons of water daily
and to supply communities like
Adenta, Medina, Ashaliboche, Ogbojo, the other.
What about Hacho? Those places?
Yes, Hacho, the commando areas, all those places are going to benefit. Are you telling them that they don't deserve it and that we shouldn't have borrowed? Now, if you look at the tertiary desalination project, for the very first time, we have an innovation where we are taking water from the sea, desalinate that means we are taking the salt.
It is a project that is ongoing.
It is ongoing. It is there.
Is it almost completed?
No, that one is not almost. That one is about almost 30% complete. But the pond expansion at Legon is almost completed. And it should be commissioned very soon. Again, if you go to Mampong, that water, we gave them water this year. Mampong, we gave them water this year.
Because they used to have acute water shortages.
If you go to Nanado's hometown, This year, the president gave them for the very first time in their history, and their chief said that for the very first time in their history, they are having to fetch water, potable water from the tap, and not from pipe.
And all made possible through the loans that we acquire. You've made your point.
Well, because at the end of the day, if we are not able to develop those projects, what are you doing for Ghana?
Okay. Do you agree then that perhaps you need to find a better means of convincing your critics? And for example, one of whom is here, and Abdul, at what point do you need to get satisfied?
That's very interesting.
Daily you are convinced that these projects are situated at certain areas in our country.
Roland,
and these are the amounts
when you ask
that
question
have
like,
been borrowed to make sure these are adequately executed.
Roland, when you ask a question like, at what point do we need to get satisfied?
Convinced.
We don't,
because you never seem to be convinced. You, the critics of
just a minute. When you ask such a question, it means it looks like you are convinced already. That's how it means. Anyway, but let me go on to the matter.
Now, why should you not be convinced when the projects are very visible?
I don't want to.
I'm asking
it looks
a question.
like no, but let me go on. You see, he came here to sit down, and from A to Z, he's been rabble-rousing and calling it, talking or communicating on projects.
I think Ghanaians are listening.
The gentleman sat here and told us that the monies that they have acquired as loans is supposed to be put into productive sectors. When someone says something is productive and that is going to pay for itself, and gave a typical example of Akosombo, that Akosombo was actually built by loan money and then they paid for itself. Today, in his own submission, he talks, and to the extent that he tells you, Circle, we secure loan to build it and it's productive. I want him to tell me how we are going to get the road at Circle paying for that day loan. One. Because he doesn't even know what he's talking about. Now let's go on. We sit here and you are talking $69 billion in excess. Wait a minute, I'm coming.
That is not how much
and we are talking ratio of GDP about 68%.
That's a threshold. Yes.
Not too long ago, just about a month or more, when we set off to go to IMF to start the first leg of negotiation, IMF came out with a press conference. Wait a minute. Please,
not in Dallas. The debt stock you mentioned is not in Dallas. No, you need to correct. It is not in Dallas. It is in cities, please.
What is in cities?
The debt you mentioned, it is in cities, in case you don't know.
Oh, let's go on. Now we
are not going on.
I'm talking about the debt ratio. Oh, please.
The debt ratio. You don't mention ratios. You don't mention ratios in currencies. Excuse me. Do you judge ratios in currencies?
Please. Oh, why are you doing this?
You don't do that.
No, be civil. I was very quiet when you talk.
Civil? When you are putting a false,
you made your point.
Before we left,
but you know it's putting a false.
Before we left,
debt to GDP ratio is 60.8%.
Yes, but he said that is that mentioned in that?
The debt stock is 69 billion Ghana.
Thank you very much.
Wait a minute. Now you go on to get to IMF, and they tell you prior to your arrival, they say, look, your debt to GDP ratio is so high, it's hitting 70%. Government went haywire. Why are you saying 70%? This man don't know what he's talking about. 55, a whole lot. It's 55. Just about a month or two ago. Today, as we sit down, what has changed within 1 month or two? We're talking 68 GDP. Whom are you deceiving? That's the kind of people we have as in governance. People who have actually seen truth to be an enemy to them. Just 1 month, 2 months ago. So then he come to sit here and say, Tom project, hospital, whatever, and all these things. When you read the budget, they tell you, we are going to do this. They didn't say we have done this. Read the budget very well. We are going to do this. We are embarked on doing this. We are going to secure loan to do this. No, they never said we have done this.
All these are
these are projects that are actually been earmarked. I'm coming. Look, let me give a example. He says Auslauzu attended one commissioner of a school.
No, but when it was
no problem.
The features are there. It's not part of the
I have to make this point. It's a very important point. We are told clearly that by the Minister of Education, the money has actually been secured to build 200 secondary schools. You know why I asked him 200? Today in the budget, future 15 budget, what we are supposed to face with is 123 secondary schools.
173, please.
No, please, it's 123. Go and read it very well. You didn't read it.
123 plus 50 is
secondary schools that we're talking about. That they got the money for. So is it 200 or 123? And out of the 123, he said 50 already. Out of it, please go and read your budget very well. I read that. Then at the end of the day, 50 of them have actually been commissioned to work for what to start on. As to whether or not the money has actually been gotten is another question. Meanwhile, we were told just yesterday by the Ablakwa and his team that they had money to the extent that excess of the money was supposed to be used to secure sanitary pads and other things. If you cannot even, okay, if you are going to use excess, it means that you've had all the money to build your 200 schools. Today you are telling us 123, and out of it, sanitary pad is not mentioned again. Is it the way these people can deceive Ghanaians? And we sit here and we allow these people to be in governance going on. So for me, what I would like to say is that Ghanaians are watching us. They feel it. All this thing you are saying, fundamental question is the Ghanaian okay? That's the fundamental question.
Thank you.
Is the Ghanaian okay?
You've answered.
And the answer is that no, no one is happy with it. Is
that your conclusion?
We have had labor unrest. Even today as we sit here, pensioners cannot be paid. Yesterday, the finance minister said that they have a challenge. They can't even pay pension. He mentioned the budget. Clearly, I heard him unequivocally. They can't even pay pension. And you sit here and the people are on the streets and all you come and do is to do rhetorics and tell us to go and look at hospital you are building. We go and look at Tamale Airport. When we say we've not seen
mention
anything,
them,
the project is that they are clearing the land.
Mention them. Legon,
so for me, I wouldn't see Ghanaians are actually watching and seeing what is happening. We should, you see, the culture of silence is killing us because we are quiet. These people are taking.
So what do you want to? You want to make noise? Hit the street.
Let's hit the street and rise up. These people should know that they are doing the wrong thing. They are speaking to us and truth, and they must not be. They must not be doing this to Ghanaians.
That's creating a situation of insecurity.
It's not. I told you, it's legitimately placed. The law allows us to go and demonstrate.
Sir, George, I know you want to make a point.
Yes.
Before the approval of the $156 million.
Yes.
From would have been coming from the World Bank.
Yes.
For which we have a component that will be used for the sanitary pads and the building
That's what you
of 75.
Absolutely.
Okay. Before then, 50 had already been built. So if you do 70, so they would have a component would have built 23 new secondary.
No, that's the World Bank alone.
No, I understand.
The World Bank
so
alone.
So when you do addition of all that, you get 120.
No, you get 100. Listen, let me explain. You see,
that's it.
Can I explain? I don't know whether it's ignorance or it's deliberate.
So it's not
deliberate mischief. No.
It's not ignorance.
2013 budget approved 50. 2014 budget approved 50. 2015 budget, which was read, and it is in there clearly. Approved. It did not approve 120. Approve another 50. If you read it there. Now, that 150, that 3 gives you 150 plus the 23, which is being supported by the World Bank. 173. For me, the most interesting.
Where are those?
Of course, they are ongoing. we all remember the President Commission one in Eastern Region, is in Nyano or something. And it's scattered very soon. If you come to Adenta, which is also a beneficiary under the 23, the World Bank, in a couple of weeks' time, salt is being cut again in Adenta. That is, I'm mentioning Adenta because it's my constituency. Again in Adenta. Again in Adenta. In 2 weeks' time, I'm going to invite you to come and cover there. A new polyclinic. A new polyclinic is being put up in Adenta for the very first time. The people of Adenta will be having a polyclinic. If they have it, I don't think you'll be sitting here and go the way you are going. More importantly, to the people of Ghana is to see visibly the things that government has borrowed to do. Is that not the case? It is not for you. It is not
visibly
it is not for you to come and sit here. It's not for you to come and sit here and think that they are ignorant or Ghanaians don't read. Anybody who presumes that the average Ghanaian is illiterate, so I'm going to deliberately throw that to deceive them, irrespective of what is happening. And for me, the NPP doesn't learn, and the NPP is not learning, because if they were learning, trust me, Roland, they would have moved away swiftly from this lazy way of politicking. And I call it lazy because, first of all, you are here saying that they approve 50-50 and then 123. Won't that alone exceed the 200?
No,
you had the finance minister
to 123 that you're going to build.
You had
and
the finance
out of it 50
you had the finance minister.
And I can read this for you.
Clearly,
if you are
clearly, you don't keep up to date with your budget, and that is why you are not you are not a serious. You are not a serious. You are not a serious
about the content of it.
You are not a serious opposition party.
You do the budget.
In the 2013 budget, in the 2013 budget, Ghanaians know very well that Parliament approved 50 schools to
move on the point on.
In the 2014 budget, Ghanaians know very well additional 50 was approved. In the 2015 budget, which was passed yesterday, another 50.
Come on,
another 50. Now,
50. That's good.
Aside this 150, Ghanaians again no.
We want to know where are they.
You don't take 1 day to build school.
Okay.
And we all know very well that the beneficial constituencies, which I have mentioned some to you, the beneficial constituencies.
Don't you think? Don't you think, sir, that to convince the population, you need to outline cost, location, project, cost, location, project.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir. Outline all of them to convince your critics and also show to the population that these are the things. For example, if you borrowed, let's say 27 billion since 2009, these are the costed projects. These are the projects. Now, for this SHS you are talking about, and you are saying 173 years.
Yes.
You're convinced about it. Once you're convinced about it, the locations where they are.
Exactly.
Except because I know sometimes you even came up with locations of where you have removed you have removed schools under trees.
Everybody
so
knows.
Try and do that. Then people can go verify in those communities because even with those ones that you did, there were some communities that said they were not even beneficiary of some of those.
Which community?
One or two. There were those controversies. The last year, disbursements. Disbursements have been a problem for government. Statutory disbursements now are in deficit or arrears.
Strongly.
If not 3 to about 4 quarters. And now we have a new budget.
No, but
it can be.
I didn't follow the budget at all.
It can be 3 to 4 quarters.
Just in case you don't.
3 to 4 quarters means a year. That is what you are saying.
Yes.
A quarter is 3 months.
Ask the heads of the MMDAs, the assemblies. Ask them. They'll tell you.
No,
and some of them haven't received for 3 quarters. And we're in the last quarter of the year.
That is not true.
The guy you are
some few weeks back.
So go verify.
Exactly. And that is what that is some few weeks back. Some few weeks back. We all know that some funds were released to cater for the second. The funds that have not been released is the third quarter. Is the third and fourth quarter.
How would you make sure? We'll come to the disbursement. How would you make sure that as far as education is concerned, you adequately tend to deploy the resources and do the allocations where they are needed? Because despite all this, within the year, I'm talking about the fiscal year, within the year, we've seen schools not getting the allocation they expected to get to either support grants for school feeding, schools not reopening early because they haven't been paid their subventions, some schools even not getting chalk to write on the blackboards.
Thank you. You see, Roland, the things that you have said are things that happened. Okay, yes, some schools openly, but what is
it's not some? We have majority of schools.
If you say majority, please. If you have 100 schools and about 3 of them,
let him land because he's the government.
If you have 100 schools and about 3 of them did not open on time due to some challenge, you can't say majority. Now,
do you remember there was a point in time in the central region, the education directorate had to close down all the schools.
But we are talking about 10 regions, and you can't be majority.
No.
Is it that? We need to be careful. We need to be careful. It could be semantics. It could be semantics, but we need to be careful. But Roland, wait. Let's
within the period.
Roland, that is not.
We also had same reports in the northern region. The 3 northern regions.
Roland, that is not. They never closed down. They never closed down. They never closed down. Let's look at what happens and what is happening now. Government admits that. Yes, it had challenges. I mean, releasing funds, releasing statutory funds. And why is that? You realize that government sources of revenue has declined. Why has it declined? We depend largely on our cocoa export, on the revenue we get from gold and stuff. And they are declining worldwide. Again, oil. We have become an oil exporter. And when people are saying, oh, the price of oil is coming down, so therefore the price at the pump should come down, forgetting that there's another element that today Ghana is an oil exporter, and therefore we are also getting low revenue from the oil proceeds. Again, what this means is that if you have budgeted to get 100 cedis, and that 100 cedis you give the cameraman 20, you give this one 10, and at the end of the day you get 50. What do? You need to strategize in such a way that you'll be able to give them.
Yeah, let him land.
You'll be able to give them something, but you anticipate that definitely you get the money. Again, grants. About 70% of the grants that were promised by the development partners have not been released, and we all know the reason why they've not been released. One of the reasons
for budgetary support.
One of the reasons is that, listen, Ghana is championing the cause. The president is championing the cause. We are championing an export-led economy. We are transforming the economy. And that is why today you have agri leading the GDP growth.
But
and that is why today, and that is why today you have Ghana proposing to establish a Ghana Exim Bank. What an Exim Bank means is that listen, we are having an export-led economy. We all know that. Now, you talk about the fact that we should be able to quantify the projects and the costs. Give me 1 minute. We have the Kwan water supply expansion, which I mentioned. That is $273 million. We have the Kwan intake rehabilitation. That is 16.5 million euros. We have the Accra Metropolitan Water Supply, which is 56.5 million euros.
This is what they are good at.
We have the Teshinungwa salination, which is 13 million euros.
I think it should be fair.
We have the Nsawan water project, which is 1.
I'm not getting.
We have the Nsawan water project. We have the Kohu Ridge, which is about just 3.5 million euros. Again, we have the Asante Map, which I mentioned earlier. It is $22 million. We have the Kumasi water supply, which is 24 million euros.
It is good to actually be carved and given a direction to come and read copiously what you have in hand to deceive Ghanaians.
But it is to convince.
Well, I'm happy.
Your people sat in parliament and passed this.
On this set, I'm happy on this set that this government communicator has succeeded to contradict himself, or in contradicting himself.
In what way?
First of all, where he started, he says, look, government must develop. Government must go on. The country must move on. A whole lot of
He's talking about what should be the ideal.
And he said that. He said, I want to point out the contradiction and let Ghanaians understand. He said that the loans that they contracted and got the money has actually been used to satisfy all sectors of the economy strongly. And then goes on to mention a whole lot of
Roland, did I say that? Did I say that you to satisfy every aspect?
When you confront him with arrears, okay? On statutory payments,
we don't borrow to finance statutory payments. Please, in case you don't, that's why I said the loan work is productive. No, unless you correct it. Unless you correct it. I said it was used. The loans were used in the productive sector. You cannot borrow to unlike the preferred administration. We will not go and borrow and pay salary. We will not do that.
You're a government communicator. I understand the strategy that
let me just go on.
Government and critics use.
Yes.
I mean, when one is talking.
No, but he's deliberately distorting what I've said.
What is your point?
Wait, you make it. That's why I said you should be decorous and civil.
Was he quiet? Was he quiet?
I am saying that if you are supposed to tell us that all the money you got suffices for everything in this country, and that is why government must go.
And has anybody said that?
You confronted him with statutory payments and other obligations of government being in arrears and not being paid. MNDA's common fund and other things not being paid in arrears. Your gentleman sits here and knowing the fact that this money were gotten and monies were not used in the right channels and rather used on whatever he.
So loans should be used to pay salary like you guys did.
He's telling us that there's no money, government is challenged to push it. Now if there's no money and government is challenged to push it, and you say there's money and then you are fine, then where is the point? So for me, I think that I will just end here and say the one thing. They have mentioned progressive secondary introduction of the free progressive SHS whatever in the budget. What they fail to do to us as Ghanaians, and Ghanaians should know that in black and white, these people are deceiving us, was the cost element of it. Conspicuously missing in that budget was the cost element of introducing free SHS in 2015. The budget is projection. Budget, you should tell us cost. Tell us what to do. You just can come and mention something. This is why, these people, that's propagandists to this highest order. You stand before parliament. You are representing the president. The budget is read by the president, not the finance minister. It's the president who was struck.
Do you know that the budget is an abridgment?
You mentioned. No, I'm saying that. It doesn't matter. You mentioned.
They say highlights.
Look, highlights. What's wrong with cost? Cost cannot be summarized. Can't you tell me that you are going?
So go and take the budget in its entirety.
We are going to introduce free SHS, which of course. You said it will never happen.
Know the cost.
You said it will never happen.
So you want
now
to
you say you want to do it, and you didn't even mention a single cost. When we said we're going to do it, you were taking us to cost.
Asking whether he knows the cost. You know
what's the cost for the free SHS? 2015.
What's the cost?
You know
what's the cost?
You know
what's the cost? What's the cost?
It's interesting. I will refer you where the cost.
What's the cost?
I will refer you where the cost.
When you do this, you deceive Ghanaians. You see, we should
so you have concluded.
Let me refer you where the cost. When I say they are lazy,
Ghanaians are watching.
And this is the worst opposition.
What worst?
we've had.
What's the cost of free SHS first? Tell me.
This is the civilized person. You see the civilized person. You see the civilized person who is talking about somebody being decorous.
Okay, you've learned from him. You are heckling him, so let him.
You see? Yes, I'm concluding. You see, I said,
what's the cost?
I said the current. Oh, you gave him 3 minutes.
What's the cost?
The current opposition we have is the worst and the laziest opposition we have had. Because he wouldn't be asking the cost. He wouldn't be asking the cost of the free SHS.
Oh,
if indeed they are serious.
For the cost.
The cost is in the 2014 budget. I am surprised you sit there. You didn't even know 2014 budget when it was presented. It came along. He said, "Well, we are going to roll out a progressive free SHS, and the first year, the 2015-16 year, this is what, and this is where the money is going to come from. Everything is stated there. So for you to sit here and say what is the cost, clearly tells me how lazy they have decided to be, and for them they are taking money that they don't even deserve. No, look, the minority in parliament sits and passes the law. They pass the loan. These loans that we are who passes is it not parliament? So when the parliamentarian, when a minority parliamentarian says that, when the minority parliamentarian says that, oh, we don't see the loans. We don't see what the loans are. Ask him what he has been doing in parliament. Ask that minority person. If you go to parliament and you are not sleeping, what else have you been doing? Because the loans, are protected in parliament.
Judge Spencer Quay is a member of government's communication team and helping us. He came in later though.
Bankrupt of ideas.
Judge, so you came in to replace who?
Sam George.
Okay, Sam George. Sam George, what's his position? Is specialist communication person. I can't remember. Okay, and Kamal Din Abdullahi, he's the national Nasara coordinator of the MPP, and thanks for gentlemen joining me this morning and helping us do a thorough discussion on the budget as well and getting
more grease to the elbows of the organized labor, and then we expect.
We're taking a break. We'll be right back. Don't incite the public. Come on. We'll be right back.
What is due there?